Hello, my name is Josh. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I've recently been through a divorce. Thanks for coming back to my channel. Today I'd like to talk about something that is a little bit touchy, but it's something I think that has to be addressed. And that is the topic of anger, especially when you're going through the divorce process. I think first of all, we have to acknowledge that as we are going through the divorce process, you're walking through a grieving process. You're really grieving the death of your marriage. And there's a lot that goes into that grieving process. But one of the natural byproducts of that is a feeling of anger that we will go through. And we'll probably go through it many times and in many ways through that grieving process because, the grieving process isn't linear by any stretch of the imagination. So anger is something that will occur. And it is a tough thing. And I think one thing that's very common is we feel bad because we feel angry. But we shouldn't. Anger is actually a very natural part of our human experience. It is something we have to learn to deal with. And it is something that, one of the things that I learned is that we have to learn to experience and deal with these kind of emotions. I think the easiest way to put it is as I was learning to go through the anger that I was feeling, I learned a few lessons about how to deal with it, how to view it, and that's kind of what I'd like to talk about because I think it'll all kind of come into view. But first of all, when I was going through the anger, I realized that I had to kind of put boundaries around how I was dealing with it. The reason is because one of two things is easy to do. Either you let your anger go out of control, in which you cause damage to others and it gets really bad, or potentially gets really bad, or you suppress it. And if you suppress it, it'll find its way out, it'll fester, it'll probably become worse, and it is extremely unhealthy just to suppress that anger as well. So what we're required to do is work our way through that anger. So the analogy that I like to think of with anger is actually the analogy of a tornado. And at least that's how I viewed it within myself, is as I became angry about something, I found as I thought about it and dwelt on it, it was like a tornado, and then it picked up speed. It picked up velocity, and it picked up volume and mass, and it just tended to get bigger and stronger the more I was feeling this feeling of anger. And it was a really tough go. Because sometimes that anger turns more than just anger, it becomes rage. And how do you deal with this rage that is there? It is within you, and you can feel it. So what if this tornado is raging about us? So a couple of things that helped me. First, finding a way to dissipate the energy of the anger and rage. So just like a tornado, this is how I thought about it at least, just like a tornado, there's all sorts of energy moving about. It's picking up debris, it's picking up stuff along the way. I needed a way to dissipate that energy. So I don't know if it's just my inner caveman, I don't know what it was, but for me, going and lifting weights was the way that worked best for me to dissipate that energy. In my own, again, my caveman brain, I would think to myself, I just need to go pick up something heavy and carry it around for a while. And it sounds so stupid and so simplistic, but for me, that is what worked. So find a way, first and foremost, to dissipate the energy, because there is a physical tension that arises within us as we feel this anger and this rage from within. The second thing that I had to learn how to do to deal with this tornado was to meditate. Now, meditation can happen in 1,000 ways. Sometimes meditation happened after my exercise because I would sit down, I'd close my eyes, and I would think. Sometimes it happened during my workout. My brain would be spinning as I was working out. And the reason is because I knew that the reason I was so angry was really because I was hurt. Something specifically was hurting me right now. And so I had to find what that thing was within myself so that then I could help heal it and soothe it. So the thing that the thing that I have to say about that is that it's a tough go, because it will take you places that you don't expect. At least it took me places I didn't expect to go. Sometimes I was angry about a promise that my ex-spouse had made to me 5 years before, and now obviously she wasn't keeping that promise. I mean, something random like that. It could be the look on my kid's face when they realized that we were getting divorced. It could be anything. And sometimes it took me back all the way to my childhood, to a feeling that I had that related to this that I was angry about now. But it took me meditating, it took my mind to find its way to that place, to acknowledge where that pain was, so that I could then deal with it. So it's almost like, the way I view it is, again, within the storm, it's like putting yourself in the eye of the storm. So when you're, with that tornado analogy, right, when you're in the eye, it's peaceful and calm. Now the storm is raging all around you, everywhere around you, but you found this place of peace and calm. And that's where I needed to get to, because that's where the pain was. And once I was there, I could do something to heal it. The third thing that I did was I had to have a why. Because once I was in the calm of that storm, I had a choice. The choice was, I can either continue this pain and suffering. I could perpetuate it. I could take it back out on my ex-wife, or I could take it back out on my neighbor, or I could take it out. It would go anywhere. It can go anywhere and everywhere. I could manipulate people. I could use people. I could hurt people. I could do any number of things to perpetuate the pain, because I felt others should suffer the pain that I was feeling. Or I could accept it. I could accept whatever that hurt was within me. And then I could say, I'm going to choose to forgive. I'm going to choose to stop the pain right here, right now, and not perpetuate this pain to anyone else. In order for me to make that choice, I had to have a why. That why oftentimes had to do with two things. One, my children. My children needed someone to be an example to them. And I felt there's something within me that felt this great importance to do that. The other one was, I believe in covenants. There's something in me that says I need to keep my covenants. Although going through divorce, and sometimes that just doesn't even make sense, because covenants are being broken, and there's a lot of questions that go around that at times when you're going through the divorce. I needed to keep the covenants I had made, and I just knew it, and I needed to do my best. And I wasn't going to be perfect at it, and I wasn't going to be perfect at being an example to my kids, and I knew all that, but I needed to accept where I was at so that I could then choose to forgive and not perpetuate that pain. And I had to have a why. I had to have a why. So again, when you're in that tornado, when you're in the middle of it all, and that rages will come, the three things that helped me were, one, find a way to dissipate the energy. Get that energy out. Two, meditate somehow and find what pain is causing that. And that pain, that could take a long time to get to, and it may take you anywhere in your life history, frankly. And three, find out your why, so that you can then choose to let go, to forgive, and to accept, so that you can gain healing and health. Now, just from my own experience, sometimes I'd feel anger about something and I'd meditate. I didn't come up with the answer that day, But then the next day when I felt angry again, I would do it all over again. And then the next day I'd feel angry again, and I'd do it all over again. But ultimately I would always come to the ultimate why I was suffering. And it was always very specific. There was always some very specific something that was causing it for me, some hurt. So I say all this to say that anger is part of the process of healing. And it's okay. And it's okay as long as we put boundaries around it, that we don't suppress that pain, that we don't use that as a reason to hurt others also. That we keep it in some sort of check and control, and we work through it. And as we work through it, the one thing that I can promise you is, like, above all else, is the Savior will help you work through it. And He will help you make the choices that we need to make in order to heal. So there is hope. If you're feeling anger, there is hope. You can get through it, and you can heal and be better. And actually be better, be better than you ever thought you would be. So again, my name is Josh. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This channel is not endorsed by the church. My thoughts are my own. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist. I'm just someone who's been through a divorce. I've learned a few lessons along the way, and I hope they're helpful to you. I've got a lot left to learn, so if you have any thoughts or suggestions on dealing with anger, especially when you're going through the divorce process, please leave a comment below. Thanks for coming to my channel.